Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call the City of Quincy Board of License Commissioners meeting to order. It is 4 o'clock on September 13th, 2022. Sue, can you please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Castley.
Present.
Mr. Conlon Director Duca.
Present.
Chief Jackson.
Present.
Chief Keenan.
Present.
Chair Crispo.
Present.
5 members.
We do have a quorum, and I will read into the record the open meeting law. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. I'll get right to agenda item number 1. Hearing regarding the request of Cubic Labs for a special use permit 1-day beer and wine license for an event at Kilroy Square in support of Boston Blockchain Week on Wednesday, September 21st from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. And before us today is Councilor Kane. Councilor Kane, thank you for being here. Why don't you tell us about your Cubic Labs event?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the License Board. Thanks for having me today. So here to request a one-day extension for Wednesday, September 21st from 3 to 9 for the Widowmaker Brewery Truck as well as the Townsend Food Service. Cubic Labs, which is my nonprofit organization that supports entrepreneurship and innovation south of Boston. We're based right in Quincy Center on Hancock Street, and we're hosting an event called Boston Blockchain Week 2022. Boston Blockchain Week 2022 is it's a conference or an event that we're hosting in the style of what could be called like a South by Southwest, if you're familiar with this, where we're using the public spaces in the downtown area as the conference venue itself. So we actually have a tent being set in Kilroy Square for the venue itself, which will have moderated panel discussions and speakers around the topic of blockchain technology, which is one of the enabling and emerging technologies that Cubic Lab supports here from the city of Quincy. We're intending to have anywhere between 500 and 1,000 people come to the event, which is a goal target number. We would appreciate this extension of the license in order to accommodate food and beverage needs for this event, and obviously in order to provide more economic benefit to these organizations that patronize our downtown, typically on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I believe. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions, concerns from anyone regarding Cubic Labs for a special use 1-day beer and wine? Seeing none. Board members?
I have a quick question. Is it open to the public, Council?
It's not. There's a registration. We've the ticket price is $50. We've made it sort of a low bar number for entrance so as to accommodate more people. So it's not open to the public, though.
So it's not just, you wouldn't be going there?
You can't just walk in on the
Walk
street.
in.
Yeah, there'll be, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And where would you get the registration for this event?
You can go to our website. It's www.bostonblockchainweek.com.
This is good for my Joe Catalano show.
Oh, good. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was just reminded, actually, when I saw Mark, I got to send Joe some stuff to put on the station, too.
Okay, thank you. And if there's anything you have that you want to forward to me,
Sure.
I can bring it up tomorrow.
I will do.
Seeing no further questions, looking for a motion.
Madam Chairwoman, I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of Cubic Labs for a special use 1-day beer permit and wine license for an event at Kilroy Square in support of the Boston Blockchain Week on Wednesday, September 21st from 3 to 9 p.m., represented by Councilor Ian Kane.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Madam
Good
Chair.
luck
Thank
with
you,
your
members of
event.
the board. Appreciate
Have fun.
it. Thank you.
Good luck.
Agenda item number 2, hearing regarding the request of the St. George Albanian Orthodox Cathedral for special use permit 1-day beer and wine license for an Albanian community festival at Kilroy Square on Sunday, October 2nd from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Leo Keka.
He did confirm, but I do not see it.
Okay, Leo has, is running a little late. We did confirm the application and the venue, and if any questions, concerns from anyone here regarding the St. George Albanian Orthodox Cathedral for a special use one-day permit. Seeing no questions, board members, questions, concerns? Looking for a motion.
Okay, I feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to grant the request of St. George Albanian Orthodox Cathedral for a special use permit one-day beer and wine license for an Albanian community festival at Kilroy Square on Sunday, October 2nd, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., represented by Leo Kaker.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is number 3. Hearing regarding the request of Booster Fuels, Inc., doing business as Booster for a fuel storage permit for the premise located at 97 East Howard Street. Proposed manager Trolley Achanda. And hi,
my name is Jack Lonergan on behalf of Booster Fuels and Tully today.
hi Trolley. And I'm sorry, your name again for the record?
Jack Lonergan, Lonergan.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, so we are a fueling startup. We are about 6 years old. We service commercial fleets across the country. We have operations in California, Washington, DC, Philadelphia, Dallas. We are starting our Boston operation, mostly servicing Amazon fleets throughout the area. We're looking to invest about $5 million and then bring about 20 jobs to the area over the next few years. Our goal here today is just to kind of get you guys' blessing in regards to a couple of matters. The first being kind of just general operating. The second being the aggregate limit on gallons proposed in our fire permit is 9,000 gallons. We'd like to see that granted over 10,000 gallons. Currently, we operate in the yard with less than 1,500 gallons aggregate on site at any given time. So we don't expect to need that limit, but we don't want to run afoul of any concerns just in case. And then secondly, we've been made aware of a regulation regarding our parking. We have been told that we need to separate our tankers by more than one space. And in our background research, that didn't pop up as an issue. In ongoing research, since we've heard about that restriction, we haven't been able to kind of see what the basis of that is. So if we could get more insight and get that resolved as well, we'd appreciate that.
Thank you. Questions, concerns?
Is it 1,500 gallons, that's all you have down there? I thought there were 9 or 10 trucks.
There's 9 or 10 trucks, yep, but aggregate gallons kind of all in the tankers. So the way that we operate is we send out tankers to the terminal, they pick up the fuel, deliver it to customers, and then the goal is when they arrive at the yard at the end of the night to either be empty or near empty, which is why we have an aggregate right now of that amount.
What's the amount?
1,300,
1,300 gallons?
yeah, currently on the yard.
And you're looking to go to 2,000?
We're looking to get 10,000 aggregate gallons,
10,000?
just in case, if there was ever any sort of, emergency situation or any sort of supply issue in the area. There may be a circumstance where we would need to store more gallons on site. We just don't want to run afoul of any regulation if there was that sort of emergency case.
So the gas is stored in the tanker trucks?
Mm-hmm. It's stored, again, for purposes of carryover from shift to shift. We don't use our tankers as storage trucks, except, of course, in an emergency situation. But generally speaking, they go out empty, come back as empty as possible.
Madam Chair, I was just down the shipyard talking to Jack and to Tully, and I was just saying to them, and I think I would follow up on it. I'd respectfully request that we table this until at least the next meeting. This is just a very new business. It's a very unusual request, and when we're talking about fuel in excess of over 10,000 gallons, there's just a lot of homework that I'd have to do on this regarding, like you were saying, like just pulling into the shipyard right now, seeing how close the vehicles are parked together. They're right next to a structure. The only hydrant in the vicinity down there, there's one maybe a few hundred feet away. It's on private property. I don't know if it even flows water. I just have to do some homework, and you were saying that you haven't been licensed by anybody around here, per se. It's mostly like West Coast and DC, stuff like that.
Yeah, nobody in the state of Massachusetts has permitted us for 10,000 gallons.
Okay.
If that's what's being asked. We are we're licensed to operate in a variety of municipalities, and some of our municipalities have granted this exemption. Most of them have when we've asked.
Okay.
Obviously, with that period of review.
Sure, yeah. I understand what you're saying, and like I said, I said it to you just a moment ago down the shipyard, and I mean it. I'm not against the business. I just want to make sure that I'm doing all my due diligence, given what's going on here. Just prior to coming in here, I was talking to the code compliance unit at the Department of Fire Services, and they're very unaware of exactly how this works, and we're going to kind of work through it together and figure out a game plan to move forward. But just to speak to the trucks being parked down there, in our eyes, those trucks are always full. And I'll make the analogy, if we pull up to like a house fire, and we pull up to a burning building, and a neighbor comes out and says, I live next door, I know that they're on vacation, that house is empty. That house is empty after we determine it's empty. We go in and we do a search, you know what I mean? So if we arrive there and there's something going on, if there's a fire, in our eyes, all of those trucks are full of fuel. That's how we have to look at it, you know what I mean? So just, I would make the request that we table it till a couple of weeks, and in the meantime, I'll do as much homework as possible, and I'll be in touch with you, and happy to work with you through this.
Absolutely. Just one final note in terms of kind of irregularities from market to market. We haven't had another market with this spacing
Yeah.
request, so that's why it's kind of perked our ears a little bit. And absolutely, whatever support you need from our end to help make your decision, we have a variety of materials regarding how we operate our tankers and safety, etc.
Do you happen to have a card on you with an email right now?
I do not, but I do have your contact, so I'll be in
Okay,
touch.
dynamite,
Yeah.
excellent, yeah, that's excellent.
So, without further discussion, we will table until further notice.
Awesome.
Okay, and Susan and the chief will be in touch.
Yes. Feel free to reach out with any other questions.
Okay.
I appreciate your
It
time.
was nice to meet you guys today,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 4 was continued from August 16th. There does seem to be some concerns by the applicant and his attorney, as well as constituents in the neighborhood. We will table that until further notice. So the hearing regarding Off the Hook Bar and Grill LLC will be tabled until further notice. That does conclude the agenda for this evening. Looking for a motion to accept the minutes from August 16th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And our next hearing will be on September 27th. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you.